Hello viewers, and welcome to part 1 of our Forza Motorsport tuning guide. This guide will take, from beginners right up to expert, from the basics of tyres and suspension and tuning to really getting the most out of your cars and world-beating lap time. So now I'm going to hand it over to Ross, and he's going to kick off with the first look at tyres.
Hello guys, this is me, VVV Cozzy, in my home abode of Infineon Raceway, and this is where our tuning garage is going to be. For I'm doing a video based on tuning in Forza 4, and I'd like to take you guys on a journey along with me. So we're going to start off with front wheel drive cars. We're going to be tuning and upgrading accordingly, so we'll end up with basically street legal race cars at the end of it. We won't be upgrading power because you wouldn't want anything too overzealous. We'll start off with a front wheel drive car around about 200 horsepower. That's really a lot for a front wheel drive car anyway. Four-wheel drive somewhere around about 350 horsepower maybe, and rear-wheel drive probably around about the same, 300 horsepower, so that should be quite cool. As we take a look on the track, you see my personal tuned car. This is my tuned car of choice. It's a four-wheel drive Ford Escort Cosworth RS. As you can see, modified doesn't mean the outside bits of the car like all the little plasticky spoilers. These are the standard trim that this car was sold with. I know it looks a little bit chavvy and a little bit boy racery, but this is far from a boy racer. This is a monster beyond any sort of tuning that can be done with a Ford Escort. It's got 500 horsepower and it grips no end. It grips so biblically. This is probably the best car I've ever built with no aero. So let's get on with the tuning itself, and we'll start off with buying our first front wheel drive car. I wonder what it will be. Right guys, here's my Escort on the Transfiguration Highway, magically transported from America because this is Forza and it does not do anything to logic apart from twist and bend it and warp it. As you can see, this is the Escort that I was driving earlier. It looks completely standard apart from being a little bit lowered, but this is far from standard. As I go into the upgrade shop, I'll show you the amount of horsepower it's got actually. It's in R class. It's 540 horsepower. I wouldn't put this up against race cars, but it is just fun just to layer it about, and it's quite a nice car to drive. Right, let's pick our front wheel drive car out of my garage. None of these have really been tuned in anyway. You got the Ford Pinto, the KA, Scirocco, that's a good front wheel drive car. No, Fiero, Datsun, Ford Escorts, a Shelby Omni, MX-5, the Raptor, the DS3. No, that stupid Veloster Turbo. No, there we go. A 2004 Honda Civic Type R. That's the car we want. That's a good car. It's got 212 horsepower as standard in this game, but I'm pretty sure it only had 200 horsepower in the UK spec anyway. It's a good standard base for a front wheel drive tuning, so let's get on with it, shall we? Right, here's our car on the lovely Tsukuba circuit of Japan. It's our Honda Civic, and we're just doing a base lap to test its optimal performance and optimal skills. I've done this lap about 3 or 4 times because I wasn't quite happy with it. So powering around the track, and I love Tsukuba because it really tests the tyre degradation and the suspension travel of many front wheel drive cars, and it promotes understeer among these cars, as you can see in this corner. I could not get it to turn in for the life of me. It's definitely a great tester for a front wheel drive car, and we'll be using this as a test track for our tuning. We'll be basing our tuning around this track, so gear ratios and all that good stuff. But right now I'm focusing on the tyres and wheels choices of this car, and obviously alloy wheels and all that good stuff. So as we round the second to last corner, power down the straight as fast as you can. You want to get out of that corner as straight as possible, so it gives you the maximum amount of chance to get up to that top speed before the sweeping right-hander. I don't know what they call it. I'm not really good at remembering corners. I just love seeing crashes. The car definitely shows its prominence around here, and the time is a 1 minute 12.892. So let's see what we can do to it. Right, here's our Honda Civic. As you can see, the stats are pretty, samey. They haven't changed much. We haven't upgraded it yet. But we're going to ignore the PI factor for now. We want to tune a car that works, so we're going to be ignoring the PI and just keeping it, sort of like solid, and we're going to make it handle as best we can, so that's probably max on everything. So let's try and get this this time figure down from 112 to, like, I don't know, maybe 1.5. 1.5 is the target, maybe. We'll probably shatter that, to be fair. Okay, the street tyres, they're basically the performance tyres that you can buy in any general tyre store. They're normally ones found with, like, more, flat tread, sort of like slicks. And then the sports tyres are the more high performance, the stuff you have to order in, like from like Toyo or Michelin or Pirelli, whichever. They're higher performance tyres. Unfortunately, you don't get to pick a make of tyre in this one, but in the second one you did, which I thought was quite nice. Depended on the type of degradation you wanted from your tyre. Anyway, the racing slicks, it just simplifies it down a bit. The racing slicks, these you cannot use on a public road. You will get a fine of lots and lots of money and a couple of points on your license for using them, and maybe your car impounded if it's that bad. It's quite bad, but you'll see the figures went up there. The lateral G's anyway. The lateral G's is the amount of force you can go through a corner and the amount of speed you can carry through a corner without the car losing grip, or like understeering off, or losing that lateral G as much as possible, with losing contact with the road, which is quite bad. You want to keep your tyres firmly on the road as much as possible, but in touring cars that doesn't quite work. You see them hopping over curbs and such. Right, now we go to the tyre width. The tyre width is quite important. You want to get a nice balance of width and, nimble performance, because if you have too wider tyres, the car will struggle to turn. It will have, so much friction on the road. So if you've got racing slicks and very, very wide tyres, you'll find it harder to turn in, and, the car won't be as nimble, but you'll be able to get the power down a lot faster. So you want to find a nice mix of, wide tyres and like a good mix. So you'll see as well that the weight goes up, but you can carry more lateral G's through the corners using wider tyres. That is true, but once you increase the width to extreme proportions, you won't be able to carry as much speed through the corners, because it would just stop and you'd just be adding weight onto it. And then we go to wheels as well. You normally want to, if you're keeping an eye on the PI, you want to go for wheels that will keep it within the specific PI range. If you're not like me, you go for the lightest wheels as possible, which is why I went for the TSW Track 4s, I believe. They are lightest wheels in the game, and there's a couple more with the same sort of weight, so you got a couple of wheels to choose from. I just like these cars, these wheels, sorry, because you can see the brakes, and you can clearly see what's going on in there. So that's the reason I picked them, as well as the weight going down from the tyre width as well that you added. So that's quite nice. Right, we move on to tyre wheel sizes. You don't want to really increase them too much. I mean, how often do you see race cars with 26-inch wheels and like dub, or Lexani gem wheels? You don't really see them that often. So you want to keep them a very, normal size. Say around about 16 or 17 or 18-inch. 18's probably your limit. I mean, you wouldn't want to put 20-inch wheels on a Civic. This is what it looks like now. Let's take it on the track. Right, here we are, back with Tsukuba and lovely Honda Civic with the new racing tyres and the alloy wheels that make it lighter, plus with the wider tyres as well. It's nice to see the car back on the track again. That's where it really belongs. You see it cornering a lot better. It's hugging the inside line a lot more. You don't get none of that nasty understeer that you would expect from a front-wheel drive car. The brakes work a lot better because they've got more tyre to grip onto, and it helps the front wheels do their jobs more efficiently, so that's quite nice. A good test for good chassis, if you hit the curb there on the inside of that Dunlop tyre turn, that's a good test of a good chassis. You see it hop up there. It's a lovely car. And yeah, we're coming around the second last turn already. It already feels faster in the car, and you're coming down the straight as fast as you can. It definitely grips a lot better as well coming out of turns. You don't get any slip from the diff or the tyres because they're the standard spec. And we go into the last corner now. We get a little bit of lift off oversteer. I've noticed a lot more with these tyres, so it could be a heat issue. And using all of the track pretty much. With a time of 1 minute 9.714, so that's a definite improvement. Let's tune it. Right, here's our car, here's our Civic back into the garage. It's a very open garage, as you can see. We go into the tuning tab in the upgrade section. You see the tyre pressures. They are default. They're 30 and 30, which is nice. I mean, if you're not interested in tuning, it's okay to leave it at. But if you increase the pressure to 55 psi, the tyres won't grip correctly and you'll have really bad heat issues and wear out the tyres faster. Same again if you go all the way down to the bottom of the PSI scale, you'll end up rendering the tyres useless and the tyres would wave, not giving you the correct grip that you want from your car. This is the sort of PSI level that I keep my front wheel drive cars at. It's 28 on the rear, 28 on the front, sorry, and 29 on the rear. It gives the chance for the tyres on the front to heat up a bit quicker than the rear, and it stops the car from understeering too much as well, so that's quite nice. And I think we're going to apply the setup. Just a second, just hit apply. Okay, yes, that's fine. And let's take it out onto the track and see what we can do with it. Let's see how much time we can save. Right, here's our last go at this, around to Scuba for this part anyway. And it's a fantastic run. I love this little car to bits now. It's a little Trojan. Honda make great cars. It's just the owners that do bad things to them. So that's my only basis on the Ricer thing that Honda has gotten labelled with. It's a fantastic little car this. We've added race tyres to it, fitted lightened alloys and tuned the tyre pressures just so. Let's see how much time we can save off of just the race tyre one. So it's a little reminder, the race tyre time was a 1:09.714. So let's see if this little car can take off as much as it can with just fiddling with tyre pressures, just slightly. It's ridiculous how much this helps. I mean, if you tune tyre pressures just so, you can actually shave off seconds and seconds and seconds. So, let's see how much in one lap of this track we can take off. You can see me running close to the inside line, and it's using literally all of the track as we go around the last turn with a time of 1:09.639. So here we are, a Honda Civic that not only works, it has been tuned by means of tyre pressures. This car has been fantastic, and I hope to see you all next week when I'll be tuning the suspension in this car and getting into the nitty-gritty and dirty bits of fiddling and tuning the suspension to my heart's content. So hopefully you'll join me next week. This has been VVV Cozzy. See you later.
So again, part one there was starting with the very basics, looking at the tyres, maximising your lap time, really understanding how those tyres are working so you get one piece on the car working at a time. Otherwise, if you put lots of different bits on, you don't know what's working and what's not. And this guide will be a very slow process, taking you from the very beginnings of tuning a car right up to something that is going to be able to compete on the leaderboards. And trust me, if you've never been someone who's competed on the leaderboards and you see those times and you think you're untouchable, they're not. You just need the right car, and you need to put in hours and hours and hours of play to actually work your way up there. But that's part one, and Ross will be following up with part two next week, and we've got some other bits and pieces as well. And I've got a video of the new Audi R18 which I'm going to be showing you guys in the next couple of days. But that's it for now, viewers. More soon.